Mental symptoms of mediumship. Many people have their mediumship overflowing and are still not aware of it, or they do not pay the attention they should. Now, I am going to talk about the 10 mental symptoms of mediumship that you may be experiencing and not be aware of. In this video, I will complement the previous one, which talked about the physical symptoms of mediumship. If you have not yet watched the video about the physical symptoms of mediumship, I recommend that you do so after finishing this video. I will leave the link in the description. What can happen in your mind that you are ignoring, indicating that you are a medium? It is essential to know so that you can develop and understand your mediumship better in your everyday life. After all, mediumship is not just about receiving spirits, visions, or hearing or seeing. Mediumship is a perception exercised every day, as common as seeing, hearing, or smelling. Remember that all of us have mediumistic abilities. Some have them more developed than others. Stay tuned until the end. So let's talk about the first indication in your mind that you are a medium. Mood swings. Mood alterations, changes that happen very abruptly. Sometimes a person is there, calm on the couch, listening to music or watching TV, and suddenly their mood changes. It can shift from a very sad or languid state to a state of rebellion, anger, or deep sadness, almost depressive. Various types of feelings can dominate you and sometimes even be somatized. When I say somatized, I am not referring to the body, but to the accumulation of these feelings. For example, if you got very upset with someone or something, the feeling of rebellion may be intensified in you, leading from rebellion to aggression. That's why a medium needs to closely monitor their feelings and mood changes. It is important to recognize when you deviate from your usual mood for no apparent reason or simply shift to a different mood pattern. These changes are often caused by the presence of spirits or people strongly thinking of us with negative intentions. Therefore, a medium should always be aware. If I am happy, I should not suddenly become sad, and I should not accept it. You have to maintain mental focus and not be swayed by invasive feelings. 2. Innate ideas or inspirations. Sometimes, while reflecting on a specific situation, you receive an idea and an entire concept, as if you've suddenly downloaded information. It may be about a topic you are not familiar with, and usually it's a subject you don't know much about. It's like receiving a gift of information. It's common to hear artists, singers, etc., talking about the inspiration they had for a particular song or creation. Many people mention having ideas that come out of nowhere. I've seen several interviews where people attribute their sudden ideas for a rhythm, strategy, or plan to spiritual inspiration. Of course, the person's environment plays a role. For example, someone who specializes in creating strategic plans to sell flowers has a knowledge base for it. However, divine inspiration is present. It's crucial to note that spiritual inspiration operates in both directions. If a person cultivates good habits, they will be accompanied by spirits of light. If a person does not cultivate good habits, listens to uplifting music, and engages with superior quality content, they will likely be accompanied by spirits in need of help. This phenomenon is called innate idea. It arises from telepathic effects of spirits, whether between spirits, between you incarnate with the discarnate, or between you and what many people call the collective subconscious. A set of ideas, a sort of universal intelligence. Some people refer to this as the box, as if you were accessing a file in the universe. This information can also come through a form of inspiration, similar to how poets receive their poems or musicians receive their music. You feel the urge to write or speak. This urge to speak and write will be discussed in more detail later in the video. 3. Intuitions. Another important point is intuition, which is a bit different. This is another indication of mediumship, being very intuitive and having a strong perception of things that happen. It's not necessarily someone speaking to you, but an almost animalistic feeling of knowing if something might be dangerous or right. It's about having the feeling that something is wrong or right, or that something is happening somewhere. That's intuition. Many people excel at this. Another important point, which is another indication that comes along with intuition, propelled by inspiration. And 4, desire to speak. As mentioned earlier, this desire to speak is sometimes felt in inspirations, and there is a longing to speak. It is common among psychophonic mediums. People often believe that to communicate in mediumship, one must precisely incorporate the spirits, but this is not always the case. Sometimes your spiritual mentor or someone else's mentor guides you, saying, "Tell my friend here something important for him, something he needs to realize in his life, something important for his spiritual development." Another person's mentor cannot communicate directly with them, but they can convey a message through you, not necessarily incorporating a spirit, but through intuition and inspiration. It is important to note that a spiritual mentor or guardian angel, call it what you will, is the same thing. I will make a video about this. Moving on. 5. Desire to write. The desire to write is typical of psychographic mediums. Just like inspirations and innate ideas, you may feel the urge to write, and this can have a physical effect. You may feel a slight pressure or touch on the arm, for example. Therefore, you can see that the video about mental indicators is closely related to physical indicators, and vice versa. It is essential to watch both. 6. Visions in the mind. The 6th indicator that you may be a medium without realizing it is visions in your own mind. Often you find yourself staring into the distance, at a wall, or at nothing in particular. Even when you're with other people, you might be looking but not really seeing what's in front of you. You are seeing visions in your mind, visions of different places and times, different spaces. This is closely related to clairvoyance. You're not seeing the spiritual plane directly at that moment, but you might be seeing from another place, possibly in the present, past, or future. This varies greatly, so the 6th indicator is these visions in your mind that you experience while fully awake during the day. 7. The 7th indicator is seeing spirits directly, so this would be a mediumship of vision. You see, and this seeing, my friends, there are various levels. From the person who only sees a small silhouette or a small blur, it seems like you see something passing by, to those who see perfectly, like seeing any person in front of you. There are some cliches that people say like, "Oh, I saw a dark shadow," and then they already think it's something evil. Often, dark shadows are just a difficulty of their mediumship to see clearly. It's like a person who needs to wear glasses, but they're not wearing their glasses, so they see things a bit blurry. But sometimes it's just a difficulty of mediumship. Also, be careful, because often it may just be a shadow or something that passed by and you couldn't see it clearly, and then you end up thinking it was something sinister. That's where we have to associate a lot of what we see, feel, gather the global vision, thoughts, body, what you feel in your mind. If there's oppression or not, if you feel fear or not feel fear, gather the situation so you know if it's something good or bad. Okay? Number 8. Hearing spirits. The 8th indicator is hearing spirits. Just as there are those who see, there are those who only hear. So, this would be a mediumship of hearing. The person only hears the spirits, and they can hear a spirit nearby or even a little further away. But usually it's in proximity, because there's a difference between vision and clairvoyance, hearing and clairaudience. So, you see, vision and hearing are mediumship of seeing and hearing, but in their own space and time. When we talk about clairvoyance and clairaudience, it's about seeing or hearing, but at a distance in different places. For example, you're seeing a spirit here on the other side of the city, the other side of the country, the other side of the planet. And it can be seen in a different time or space, in the present, the past, or the future. This would be another capacity, hearing. 9. Hearing or seeing spirits while almost falling asleep. The 9th indicator of mediumship in your mind is that when, for example, you can hear or see spirits when you are almost waking up or almost falling asleep. When you are going to sleep, you are in that state, almost asleep, dozing off, and you start to hear voices or sometimes see distant images. So it's the moment that can blend vision, hearing, clairvoyance, and clairaudience. You can both see and hear the space around you even with your eyes closed, wanting to sleep, right? Because it's the mind that sees. It's the mind that sees the spirit, not the eyes or the ears. Or you can see and hear, but at a distance. So it's very common for people to report saying, "During the day, I don't feel anything, but when I go to sleep, I hear voices clearly. Sometimes I'm almost waking up, and there is a person speaking right next to my ear, and the voices are very clear." It's because, at this moment, our spirit is more disconnected from the body due to sleep. The ties are more fragile, so it can see and hear. 10. Astral projection. The 10th indicator of mediumship is astral projection. Many people report that when they are about to sleep, it feels like they are sliding out of their own bodies. Sometimes they feel like they are going under or above the bed, or they see themselves leaving their bodies. Sometimes they fall asleep and wake up in different places. You are projected into the astral realm. Some people report remembering that sometimes they wake up in the morning after a nap or in the middle of the night and wake up paralyzed, experiencing sleep paralysis. This is indicative of mediumship, but it wouldn't be a mediumship of astral projection. Astral projection is a parapsychic ability, but very natural for everyone. Mediumship is more related to communication, while projection is a different situation. Generally, people who project have a higher mediumistic potential. This can happen when you wake up at night. Not everyone experiences this, but many people project without experiencing sleep paralysis. But it happens. You wake up in the middle of the night and can't move your arms, can't move your legs, but you just need to do an exercise. Try to relax and try to move just one finger, just wiggle one little finger, and you'll see that in a few seconds you'll be able to move the rest of your body. In some cases, you wake up at 3 in the morning. This happens more often than you might imagine because this moment is a very good sleep frequency for projection. So, the person wakes up, goes back to sleep, and projects better into the astral realm. And now I'll give you a bonus, so to speak. I talked about 10 mental indicators, but I'll give you an 11th one. Feeling others' illnesses. People who feel others' illnesses exhibit a kind of empathy in their sensations. Some perceive emotions, a common experience among mediums. Many individuals who don't even consider themselves mediums sometimes experience a sensation of pain. For example, if someone is suffering from stomach pain, you may feel something similar. It's not exactly the same pain, but rather a sensation of touch or pressure in the same places where the person feels pain. This phenomenon represents another type of indicative pattern of mediumship. So, my friends, I hope you found this video informative. We've created 2 videos, one focused on physical indicators and another on mental indicators, all of which are signs of mediumship within you that you need to understand. Thank you very much for watching until the end. Please support us by subscribing to the channel and sharing this video with someone you know who may benefit from it. In the description and pinned comment, I'll include a link to the video about physical symptoms of mediumship in case you haven't watched it yet. You definitely should check it out. Wishing you much peace and light until the next video on the channel. Thank you for your support.